Now at 6, the warning from fire officials as the nights get colder with attempts to stay warm, sparking multiple fires.
Plus, on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a look back at a time when Dr. King visited the Rose City.
And later, Art Edwards sets the stage for the upcoming NFC Championship game between Seattle and the LA Rams. The stats that have Seahawks fans optimistic.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. First here at 6, overnight temperatures are dropping and efforts to keep warm are leading to an uptick in fire calls.
Let's get right to Devin Haskins live in southeast Portland with the warning from fire officials. Devin?
Yeah, David and Christine, fire officials say that they see an increase in those space heater related fires during these winter months, especially as it gets colder and people are using them to warm up. In fact, Portland Fire says they've responded to 3 such fires just in the last week. Just before 5 o'clock Monday morning, a fire at a southwest Portland apartment in the second-floor bedroom. Investigators say a space heater was to blame.
You got to make sure that when you're using those space heaters that you have the area in front of that space heater completely clear of any combustible material.
Portland Fire says this was not an isolated incident. In just the last week, crews have responded to 3 space heater fires. Just a week ago, a 64-year-old woman died in a home in the northeast Piedmont neighborhood. Investigators believe an extension cord connected to a space heater caused it. As temperatures drop, people often turn to space heaters. And fire officials say the number of fires go up, particularly between December and February.
We see that increased in the space heater use or the outside warming fires that unfortunately extend to something and we respond.
And it's not just what's happening inside homes. As cold weather sets in, warming fires outside are becoming more common, especially for those living outside. Portland Fire says those fires create a difficult balance because while some may start small, they can also spread quickly. That's why the Bureau recently changed how it handles low-risk warming fires, now looking at each situation case by case, weighing the immediate danger while also trying to connect people with shelter and resources.
If that fire poses a risk to anything, a structure, a vehicle, vegetation, we're going to extinguish that.
That was put into action early Sunday morning in the Lloyd district when a warming fire at a homeless camp outside a Red Robin restaurant spread to the restaurant itself. Fire officials say simply putting a low-risk fire out isn't always the best solution because it can push people into more hidden spaces.
We have found that if we just extinguish these fires, those people end up going to alleys and next to buildings like the Red Robin, inside their tent, and we have injuries and deaths as a result of these fires. So we're really trying to manage a very, very changing landscape.
Talking about those space heaters, fire officials say that if you do need to plug one in to not plug it into a power strip or an extension cord, but to plug it directly into the wall itself. And if you leave, make sure you unplug it and turn it off. Back to you.
All good things to remember. Thank you, Devin. Further south in Lebanon, take a look at the fire that broke out this morning at the old Rite Aid on East Oak Street. Fire crews believe it started at a homeless camp next to the building. The flames were seen burning up a wall. Thankfully, no one was hurt.
Now to a live look outside on this Monday evening. 39 degrees on a chilly night after another beautiful day in the Rose City.
Chief Meteorologist Matt Sfino joining us now. Matt, really hoping we get to see the northern lights tonight.
Yeah, there's a really good chance, Christine. We've got the clear sky, which of course is no small feat in the month of January here in the northwest, but that's what we have going on tonight. Here's Salem right now. You can see it's clear. We're looking south. That's not the direction you want to look for the northern lights, of course, and I'll show you in a little bit some viewing tips. 38 degrees though in Salem. It is chilly. It was 50 earlier, but boy, it's dropped really quickly. And one of the reasons is, well, 2 reasons. First of all, the very, very dry air allows the temperature to drop quickly, kind of like in the desert. Light winds and the clear sky and the longer nights, of course, of January, all conspiring to get our cold morning temperature. So if you're going to head out, make sure you bundle up. It dropped into the mid-20s in Hillsborough and Scappoose this morning. Portland and Troutdale warmer because the wind, and we still have the east wind, but it will begin to weaken as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow. So the worst of the east wind, it should be behind us right now. We had gusts of 74 miles an hour out in the gorge this afternoon up at Corbett in Crown Point. Okay, so here's what's ahead. More dry weather, of course, the cold mornings and mild afternoons. East winds weaken, as I said. Frost in the mornings, but really no signs of any precipitation coming our way. Now, the northern lights, you're looking north from our Lincoln City Skycam. and that's the direction you want to look. That's where they're most likely to be seen. The aurora oval, as it's called, should extend well south into Oregon. So we have an excellent chance of seeing the northern lights tonight. It's never a guarantee, but what you want to do, get away from the city lights because that'll really spoil it for you. Look north after about 10 p.m. They could show up sooner if it's a really strong storm, and it is a very strong, severe geomagnetic storm causing this, and give your eyes time to adjust. And of course, it's cold, so make sure you bundle up, get ready, have some patience, and hopefully we'll get quite the show, guys.
Yeah, crossing our fingers. Thank you so much, Matt. Hey, speaking of this clear weather we've had, river advocates are reminding people to be safe and say despite the sun, the water is still very cold. And also recent flooding has stirred up a whole lot of debris.
I mean, 42 degrees in the Willamette. How's that for cold? Libby Dowsett has more from along the Tualatin.
River levels are finally getting back to normal, but if you take a look over here, river keepers say trees, root balls are washing down our rivers, getting stuck, just waiting to snag someone. River keepers are concerned people will see all this great sunny weather and decide to pop back out on the river without taking precautions. Mark Fitzsimmons knows the Tualatin River. He spends summers guiding kayaking groups with the Tualatin River Keepers.
You get a few sunny days in a row and the air temperature gets warm and people get restless.
But even he wouldn't head out on the river during winter without a dry suit and emergency provisions. He says the smooth, sunny surface does not reflect what's underneath after flooding.
It starts to float. It starts to float root wads. It starts to float logs, entire trees. It starts to float piles of firewood.
He says lowered branches can sweep you off your kayak, or snags in the current can funnel you underwater.
If you see this much, of a tree, 2/3, 3/4, or more of that tree can be underwater.
He advises kayakers to carry a pump, travel in numbers, and float with someone experienced. Even larger boat captains have been dodging debris in the Willamette. Portland's Fire and Rescue Harbor Master telling us.
Again, you just can't get out of the way of those things fast enough in a lot of cases, especially if you're looking the other way and it comes up behind you.
And if it's not the debris that gets you, it's the cold water.
You're thrown into the water, you do that. And if your head's not above water, if you don't have a life jacket on, that's what I think probably causes most of the early season deaths that we see.
Another piece of advice, get some cold water gloves, because if you were to fall into the water, you often lose control of your hands, so you can't grab anything or unzip your clothing. River keepers say it's best to just stay out of the water this time of year. In Tualatin, Libby Dowsett, KGW News.
In your headlines tonight, Portland police are asking for help identifying a man they say stabbed a woman last month in the Pearl District. This was nearly a month ago, December 20th, near Northwest 13th and Hoyt. The woman was stabbed in the torso, survived, and has since been released from the hospital. Crime Stoppers is now offering a $2,500 cash reward for information that leads to an arrest.
Police arrested two men Sunday. They say were trying to steal fiber optic copper cable not far from the airport. Officers were called to a burglary along Northeast Airport Way in the industrial area east of PDX. 33-year-old Carlos Chavez and 30-year-old Dylan Nagata face burglary and trespassing charges. Chavez has since been released from jail.
Well, looking ahead to Wednesday, Portland City Council is set to consider a resolution telling the mayor how some councilors want to spend millions in housing funds. We're talking about nearly $21 million in unspent money that was discovered in late November. For the most part, this proposal directs the funds toward rent assistance, eviction defense programs, and emergency housing vouchers.
Then on Thursday, Oregon's Transportation Commission will meet to talk about the I-5 bridge project and how ODOT will move ahead with a budget gap of nearly $250 million. That's because of the referendum effort spearheaded by some state Republicans, which paused tax and fee hikes meant to help ODOT's budget situation. The agency says if lawmakers cannot agree on a funding plan, they'll have to lay off nearly 500 current employees.
And TriMet is now buying downtown Portland's Greyhound terminal. That's according to our news partners at the Portland Business Journal. The agency will spend about $12 million in federal funds and used the property, formerly a homeless shelter, to now house buses. This as TriMet plans to slash bus routes, 11 of them, and reduce 24 others because of budget woes. A TriMet spokesperson saying these federal funds could not be used for normal operations or for maintenance.
Well, it is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and in honors of the late civil rights leader, hundreds of people volunteered in Portland to clean up parks, while others participated in peace walks.
Let's bring in Joe Ranieri live in Salem. And Joe, you spoke with organizers about why this day is so important to them.
That's right, David. Well, at McKay High School, they held their second annual MLK Jr. Peace Walk, and it was held earlier this afternoon. That brought a couple of hundred people in both the Salem-Kaiser community together. Now, the walk stretched from the high school to the Salem First Free Methodist Church earlier this afternoon. Events were held to celebrate the late civil rights leader from across the country. In Portland, there were other marches along Rosa Parks Way in North Portland. Today is all about celebrating what he stood for, but it's also a day of service too. In Northeast Portland, volunteers with Solve came out to help clean up local parks.
I think it's great to just have the opportunity to give back and show that we care about the communities that we're in, to give back in any way, shape, or form. And this is one way that we can, on a broad scale, show the community that we're here and we're here to stay.
The Portland Sunshine Division held a huge event where they put together 1,000 food boxes that was delivered to families across the metro area, reaching a couple thousand different family members. And that annual food box service is held every year. In fact, they've been doing this, the Sunshine Division, along with Kaiser Permanente, for the last 6 years. In Salem tonight, Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, let's go back in time some 65 years to November 1961 when Dr. King visited the Rose City. He spoke to a crowd at Civic Auditorium, now known as Keller Auditorium. The Multnomah County Library still has this flyer advertising King's visit, which was in the Urban League newsletter. He also spoke, by the way, at Portland State and Lewis and Clark College.
So cool to see that flyer. And you know what? We found this photo of King meeting with local civil rights leaders at Vancouver Avenue First Baptist Church as well. King discussed fair housing issues in the Albina neighborhood, where much of Portland's Black population lived because they could not get loans to buy homes in other parts of the city. It was an illegal practice called redlining. This was also around the time when I-5 construction was splitting the neighborhood.
View from the past there. Well, KGW News continues in just 2 minutes with local reaction to President Trump's proposal to buy or annex Greenland.
The United States already has treaty rights that allow it to expand its military presence in Greenland.
How the president plans to use tariffs against our NATO allies and how some local businesses are responding. Art?
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Welcome back to the latest now on President Trump's efforts to annex Greenland. The president says he will impose 10% tariffs on 8 European countries if they don't support him in taking Greenland from Denmark, a NATO ally. Those tariffs would ramp up to 25% by June.
And that development not just grabbing the attention of Congress, but people and businesses here in the Northwest with strong ties to Northern Europe. Thomas Schultz explains.
At a town hall in Clackamas County, Oregon Senator Ron Wyden slammed President Trump's plans to increase tariffs on European countries that are against his plan to annex Greenland. We also spoke to a man named Brady Jensen, the president of Nordic Northwest. That's a nonprofit focused on preserving Nordic culture in the Pacific Northwest. Jensen says many in Denmark are confused by President Trump's plans because the United States already has military access to Greenland.
The United States already has treaty rights that allow it to expand its military presence in Greenland. We can accomplish what the president says are his objectives without straining the relationship.
Though on Truth Social, President Trump posted in part Saturday, quote, "China and Russia want Greenland, and there's not a thing Denmark can do about it. Only the United States of America under President Donald J. Trump can play in this game," end quote. On Meet the Press, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent backed the president, saying it's in America's best interest to take full control of Greenland.
I believe that the Europeans will understand that the best outcome is for the U.S. to maintain or receive control of Greenland.
Of course, that's a stance that Denmark and many European countries continue to strongly disagree with. In downtown Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
Well, we also checked in with the Seattle store in the Ballard neighborhood called Scandinavian Specialties. Up to 80% of everything sold there is imported from Nordic countries. The owner says he's already been grappling with rising import costs.
Already dealing with products from some of the wealthiest countries on the planet that are already high-priced, high-quality products. So you add 15% or you add 10% or you add 25%, that makes a big difference on my end.
And the issue is bigger than just one store. The European Union is the U.S.'s largest trading partner. Washington State, for instance, alone exports $6.6 billion of goods to the EU.
Matt's back with us now. Saw the Northern Lights, was it last May? Was that the really spectacular one 2 years ago?
Was it May or was it in the fall?
There was one in the fall, and then there was that really great night in May.
I think it was May of 2024.
Well, 2024, we had two. We had a really big one in May and then a really good one in like September. But I think we had a good one last fall as well.
Oh, you might be right. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm seeing reports from Europe that they're going off in Europe right now.
That's a good sign.
Saying there's a good chance. Haven't seen it too far south yet, but there's been green, there's been red. The red's always really cool. Let's take you outside right now. We've got the clear sky. We also, I didn't mention this earlier, but there's no moon. We had new moon last night, so the Northern Lights and you will not be competing with the moon in the sky. It is 39 degrees though, so if you're heading out tonight, bundle up. It's cold. It's going to get colder, of course, and if you're in a windy area, it's going to be really cold. Now, a lot of people, and I've done this myself, like to head up to Crown Point and the Women's Forum State Park and the Gorge. Not sure you want to do that this time around. It is super windy up there. Like, it's gusting 60 miles an hour. It wouldn't be very pleasant, even though you have a good dark sky to the north. You might want to find a different location. It's going to be brutally windy. Now, there was a big solar flare, big severe geomagnetic storm that is causing this round of northern lights. So again, get away from city lights. After 10 o'clock is usually best, but you know, it's dark enough early enough this time of the year that they could be visible earlier than that. Give your eyes time to adjust. And if you think you see them but you're not sure, take a picture. Even most good cell phone cameras these days will show the northern lights even before your naked eye can see it. So get your camera ready and look to the north, try to get away from city lights. Now, if you are watching us from the Columbia Basin, you'll need to get up in elevation because you see the fog, low clouds trapped in the valleys here, but it is a valley thing. You can get above it by going up. Now, I mentioned the winds in the gorge, right? I mean, look at this. You don't want to compete with 74, 69-mile-an-hour winds to go view the northern lights. That would be extremely unpleasant. I mean, you can do what you want, but I'm telling you, it's really windy and really cold up there. High temperatures, 47 in Portland, 51 Hillsborough, 51 in Scappoose, 52 in McMinnville, and we had 60s on the coast. And you know what? The coast, it's pretty rare to get the northern lights at the Oregon coast, but this is one of those nights where that's totally possible. We saw that, I think it was back in 24, we saw that happen. You see the clear sky all around the northwest, so Oregon and Washington in prime position to get a view of the aurora borealis tonight. Now, as far as the weather goes, east winds will begin to weaken tomorrow. As far as precipitation goes, it just keeps going and going around us and not into the northwest. So there's really nothing significant coming our way. I think we'll catch some clouds on Friday and Saturday. Here's the pattern on Thursday. We still have high pressure, a little bit more northwesterly flow, but nothing significant until next week. And even then, it really doesn't look all that significant. It's just going to be a couple of weak systems coming through. Hopefully, we'll get a couple of inches of snow. This is the view to the northeast right now. We've got a clear sky. Also in the eastern sky, big and bright is the planet Jupiter, so that'll be super easy to find. It's the brightest thing up there. 39 degrees right now. Freezing level is up over 10,000 feet. On the Oregon coast, again, nice and clear tonight and sunny tomorrow. Highs will be in the mid-50s. Overnight lows will drop to the mid-30s. So again, it'll be cold wherever you try to look for the aurora borealis tonight. Morning fog down around Eugene, maybe Corvallis, otherwise clear. Lows in the 20s, highs in the 40s to about 50. Up in the Cascades, sunny and mild in the afternoons. It was in the mid-50s at the top of the magic mild this weekend. Unbelievable for January. Central and eastern Oregon, sunny above the valley fog, as we talked about, 39 in Bend, 40 in LeGrand, so very cool days there. And in the gorge, the east winds, they should begin to back off. Instead of gusts of 74, we'll drop them down to about 55 or 60, but still pretty windy in the gorge. And for Portland, clear, windy in East County. Morning frost in the places that are not windy. Lows will be in the 20s and 30s, highs in the low 50s. Here's the 7-day forecast. Not a drop of rain on it. We'll catch some clouds beginning on Friday and through the weekend. High temperatures around 50, but pretty easy to take. And again, we'll be watching for those northern lights tonight, guys.
Yeah, can't wait to see the photos, and hope the lights are bright. Thank you, Matt.
Crossed. Art's here now. Sounds like you have a lot to celebrate.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, with the Blazers, of course. The Portland Trail Blazers, they're really on a roll right now, as it turns out. Denny Avdia, he returned to action to lead the Blazers over the Kings on Sunday. Avdia back from injury. He hurt his back. He scored 30 points, added 8 rebounds, 8 assists in the 117-110 win. Portland's now 22-22 on the year. They have won 10 of their last 13 games. They sit at 500 for the first time since November. Donovan Clingan, he exploded for 21 points, 17 rebounds. Shaedon Sharpe at 27 points in that game and 7 rebounds. Avdia on his performance after the game.
Back in shape a little bit in rhythm. Got some easy buckets. Try to do what I can to help the team win. Other than that, our eyes are on the next game.
Announced the NBA All-Star starters, and Avdia fell short in his NBA All-Star starter bid. He fell outside of the top 5 on the ballots by fans, media, and the players. Their combined votes determine the starters. He now has to wait to see if Western Conference coaches will vote him in as a reserve. That vote is scheduled to be released on February 1st. Now, Avdia, he's averaging 26.2 points, 7.1 rebounds, and nearly 7 assists a game. He's going to have another chance to impress coaches on Thursday. The Blazers host the Miami Heat. The Seattle Seahawks just a game away from the Super Bowl. They took care of San Francisco over the weekend and then watched the Rams beat the Bears. The road to the Super Bowl for the NFC runs right through Lumen Field. The Seahawks are going to host the Rams for the NFC title. Teams played twice during the regular season. They split those games. Rams won the first game 21-19. The Seahawks the second game 38-37. Seattle's 3-0 in NFC Championship games, all 3 at Lumen Field. The fans, well, they like the position the team is in.
So I've been a fan, my whole life. So I'm very confident we're going to win. Plus, I've been at the other 3 NFC Championship games that were here, and we won them all. So I'm on a streak. I'm going to the game on Sunday.
All right, so here's the matchup. It is the Seahawks hosting the Rams for the NFC Championship. Kickoff is set for Sunday at 3:30. Seattle's going to be without Zach Charbonnet, one of their running backs, because he is out with a torn ACL. Benson High School hosting this year's PIL Martin Luther King Jr. Invite Basketball, the first of 5 games at Lake Ridge and Roosevelt battling. Andrew Kim, the main man for the Rough Riders, and he was able to follow up on his own missed shot for a hoop. But Micah Lee came up big for the Pacers. He nailed a 3 late in regulation, and then he led the way in overtime. He had a drive for a hoop and a foul. Lake Ridge wins it 75-68. All right, if you need more high school hoops, we have got it for you because season 8 of high school Friday Night Hoops is underway. Your one-stop shopping for boys and girls high school basketball, along with the Blazers, college basketball. Orlando Sanchez and our team of photographers going to be all over the region to bring you all the action every Friday night.
I mean, when do we not need more hoops, right?
You always need it.
At his impressive debut on Friday night.
Absolutely.
Lots of energy, only more to go.
Just the start of season 8 of Friday Night Hoops. Okay, thanks, Art. We'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Well, that does it for us at 6. I'll be back at 8 with a special edition of news right after the basketball game, Pistons versus Celtics at the half, on air and on streaming.
In the meantime, hope you enjoy a look outside, a little bit of a tour. From Salem to the Rose City, have a great rest of your Monday night.